Hey friends, my name is Chris Fair. Welcome to my channel or my Facebook or my YouTube, wherever you are. It's Tuesday, November 11th. It's 11:11. It's 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but 11:11. So somewhat of an angel day, if you believe in that kind of thing. It's numerology. We're going to hear me talk. By we, I mean you, and by also me. I will hear myself talk about 90 Day Fiance. It's the other way. We call it Toe. It's season 7. It's episode 10. Oh my goodness. Now, this was a great episode. We had a lot of couples. In fact, all of them. You know how sometimes they give us like 3 and it's like, oh, okay. And they gave us like a lot of them and we're like, oh, Jesus. Wow, what an embarrassment of riches. And that's how it felt. I have pictures, I have looks, I have things to talk about. But let's get into it. Okay. Hi, how are you? Maybe I should wait for people to get into the room. You guys, what's been happening? That is what's happening. I'm just waiting for me, but also maybe in life for humanity to kind of like pick it up a little bit. I don't know. It's weird. How are you all doing the holiday season? Has it been hard for you? Has it been interesting? It's interesting for me how I think as we move through like this time, it's like how the seasons and weather affects me. And again, I live in Los Angeles, so it shouldn't. Like for all intents and purposes, I easily should not be affected by it, and yet I am. I feel like instantaneously like I want to hibernate, kind of sad. And the good news is like because I have been on God's green earth for so long, it's like, I get it. I have to like get on front, like in front of that. I have to take vitamin D. I have to make myself move and walk. Do you guys feel that way also? Also, am I the most dramatic person because I live in Southern California saying this? It's weird though. It's been like a interesting year, around the world, also, for me. And so I think that there's something to just wanting to fucking rest a little. And hibernating like a bear seems awfully lovely. Seems great, in fact. Um I'm having a lot of fun though learning Groundlings improv. So if you're in LA, I've been like taking those classes and it's been really, really great. Though I am happy to have like a little respite or whatever and get into the holiday season of all of the things. I want to throw like a Christmas open house and I have like always a desire to do weird things like clove oranges, make an orange cutie tower where I just like cloved all of the oranges I wanted into this moment. Like that always feels great. Um, but at the same time, it's like, fun things are happening. There's all the like Christmassy kind of social gatherings. And, you know, I'm excited to be really mindful of how I choose to spend this holiday season. Oh, thanks. Hi. I'm trying to be really consistent with my lives. And as you guys know, I did Sister Wives yesterday and tomorrow, no, just kidding, Thursday, they drop the new season of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So I'm going to watch it all and then I'm going to go live on Friday and talk about it. Friday, 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I wanted to do that because no, I don't have plans. Thank you for asking after that. But just in case I had to like give some room. But hi, Hawaiian dude. Hey, my God. Meli Kaliki Maka. Have I already given that joke to you? Oh, God, I wish I could go. I would certainly love a little Hawaiian vacation. I was talking to someone who's going to Maui and I was like, that's nice for you. I'm really lucky, so that's fine. But truly like being able to, as I said, just like let go of tension and just be somewhere where you are in the most beautiful nature and in a certain vibe that isn't you must hustle, you must do things intensely, you must go fast, fast, fast. You aren't doing it enough, Oh God, no. Kauai is my favorite island of all time. No, truly. I can't even tell you. Though my dad loves Oahu, so I went to Oahu a lot growing up because he told me what to do. And the Manoa Falls is truly lovely. Hi. Hi, how are you? It's so nice to see you. It's been so long. Well, no, you popped in the other day, but it's been so long since I've gotten to like have like long lives and like see all my friends. I'm so happy to like see familiar names and stuff like that. It just fills me with glee. Plus, people get new pictures, and I'm like, oh, yay! I like an update, girl. I like an update. I like a fresh lob. Okay, so 5:15. Let's get into yes, correct. And that's why I'm like, oh God, this feels otherworldly. How is this a real place? Feels like a dream. Sometimes when I'm like, go to a place in your mind that is free from worry or free from like stress, like one of those like picture paradise. I mean, that's Manoa Falls. Though again, Kauai is gorgeous. Okay, now I'm really gonna start. It's true. And I'm excited to talk about 90 Day Fiance the other way. Again, it's season 7, it's episode 10. And I took like a 1 billion picture. So we can really get into some looks and stuff like that. And not like you would think not much happened on a 45-minute episode, yet it felt like so much happened, you know? So I'm really excited to talk about it. We didn't have Chloe and Johnny, but we did have a lot of the couples. And so we'll get into it. Okay. So I don't, okay, let's start with Luke and Madeline because it's not that big of a, scene in the sense that like no, there is no Madeline, which is almost kind of shocking because usually she's the star of the show. You know, honestly, the thing about Luke and Madeline is they do feel like a somewhat broke down version of Gino and Jasmine, or a younger version of Gino and Jasmine, or a somewhat more stomachable Gino and Jasmine for some reason. But it's weird because it's a lot of seemingly her wanting money and him being kind of like sad, which is like exactly what Gino and Jasmine were for so long. Luke is quote unquote more attractive than Gino at the stage of when Gino and Jasmine got together. I think that people have tried to tell me that Gino was more attractive when he was younger. It's like, I think that Luke is more attractive than Gino. And, so will you please tell me what you think? And here's the thing. Why am I bringing this up? Do I want to like pit man against looks? Why would I ever do that to men? That never happens to females anyway. But it's because they have a similar dynamic. And in this episode, without Madeline, we get a very truthful answer from Luke of like, what is happening here and why is this happening for him? What are we watching? Okay. So again, we go to a beautiful place called Casa Abierta. And he is meeting his friend. And his friend Brian has already had a beer, already pulled up, already one down. He's like, yeah, you started without me. He's like, yeah, I fucking did. I have to like sit here and have a conversation with you. And it's uncomfortable for me. It's cringy for me because it seems like there's an obvious thing here. And you are like putting your whole head in the sand, like one of those birds that does that, emu, ostrich. And Luke's like, so Luke gets there, as we say, goes in, buys 2 beers. And literally Brian's like, can you just sell me the idea of Madeline in your life? Why? Sell me the idea of Madeline. And Luke's like, yeah, I'll sell it to you. Here's the thing. I really love Colombia. And I just came here and I wanted to be like you, Brian. I wanted to be like a kind of like a travel bro, hustler, entrepreneur who can make $5 stretch to 7 in Colombia and, get a very young looking girl, like an overly young looking girl to pretend mediocrely to be obsessed with me. And I was like, sign me up. And he's like, okay, most of that was all about like a lifestyle, but can you even like sell me on the person Madeline? And he's like, okay, I love I know there's problems. When I'm with her, I love how she makes me feel. And this is where he really needs his friend to be like, which is blank. Because Luke needs to answer like, she makes me feel sexy, wanted. She makes me feel smart. She makes me feel masculine, dominant. She makes me feel like I can take care of someone. She like, whatever it is. Because that is what's keeping him to someone who isn't actually going to give you that forever, because it's like contingent. It's like a conditional thing. And if you can like maybe isolate what the feeling is that you are feeling, what are ways in which you could possibly get that feeling sans Madeline, without Madeline, like sin Madeline, I don't know why I'm like using ever without. I think I'm like smart, I guess. This is my like bilingualness, is like trying to pull out whatever, and he won't. It's also like that there is a mentality for someone who feels like a Luke, like someone who wants like get rich quick scheming, get love quick without it being love or companionship because it looks good on paper. He's someone who like wants to look flashy, probably, someone who's going to invest in sunglasses. He did crypto. He did crypto. Half of his like financial ruin, I feel like, is crypto, right? I don't know why it feels like crypto. He gives that whole kind of, incel kind of travel bro. And at the core of it is a certain sadness, is a certain kind of like failure to launch that he doesn't want to admit. And Brian certainly doesn't press him. But in this conversation, his friend's like, dude, it fucking sucks just being your friend, because it's like, it's really obvious that she like hates you. Like she's just, we're living in Madeline's world and she's like a crazy 19-year-old. She looks 14. It's so cringy that she just bosses you around and you like follow her around like a puppy dog. It's awkward, bro. It's weird. I wish it wouldn't happen. It's like, and it feels weird because you just keep complaining about something and we want to be like, yeah, fucking change it then. And you just won't. So it's like, what do we do? I don't want to be friends with you anymore. It's like almost what he gave him. And Luke really sat there. He was just like, Brian was like, you don't have to do this. Actually, you don't have to get married. And you have like Stockholm syndrome. And it was interesting that Luke had to be explained what that is. Luke spent a lot of time indoors growing up in an insular world. Not insular, insular. And I feel like maybe there was board games, sorry, and there was video games and maybe porn involved. But I feel like there's like an emotional immaturity that, and I will say this, there's a part of me that gets this. I sometimes feel emotionally immature, and yet I know it, right? Like I know that I'm emotionally immature and I know that it's a fault of mine. And it makes me upset. I would would much prefer to be super emotionally mature and then have like complete control of my nervous system and be able to keep like a level head and stuff all the time. And truly it's been more and more that I can't. But it's hard though, because you want that for yourself and you feel bad for yourself and you feel like you're failing in some way. And then therein that makes you tied more to like whatever trauma bond you have. And it feels like Luke does have an unnatural bond to Madeline. You know what it reminds me of? Oh God. Brian, who was the guy that went to Cambodia and then like gained up Brandan and Mary. That's exactly who it is. Thank you. I had to work my way there. You know how Brandan and Mary had like a trauma bond? Except that Brandan didn't have like a Brian in his life, who was what I thought his name for a second, to be like, Brandan, don't do that. Brandan only had like, God bless, one mom who definitely had like lived such a fucking hard life that basically caused Brandan to like have the trauma that he did, and he wanted to get away from all of that and then therefore moved to where Mary is. Was it Cambodia or was it the Philippines? Maybe it was the Philippines. Anyway, listen, I'm only cloudy about it because, I don't catch up on them so much, but I do know they have like a toxic situation where she was like doing GoFundMe's and they were like for nefarious reasons, and maybe they scam people, and who knows if they're healthy, and I'm not quite sure if they had kids or not. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, and I think that Luke and Brandan look alike. I think they have like a similar vibe. Yeah. It was the Philippines. When did I say Cambodia? I was like, nope. And then I feel bad because you make mistakes and you're like, I hope that doesn't people don't think I'm like racist. It's just I don't remember. God bless. Um, I do. There's so many beautiful countries. Okay. Anyway, so basically, to that conversation, Brian just had to look at his like sad friend and be like, well, I tried on TV like multiple times in multiple seasons to be like, dude, and your dad tried, and you just love it. But yeah, it does feel like, there's maybe other things at play like Findom or something like that, because it it doesn't make sense for him to be so submissive to her. And he is. So let's move on. Petia and Dylan. So this is like a really awkward segment for me that really involved a lot of Petia having to stare at Dylan and say or not say the things that she wanted to say in her head. That's not a great picture of him. I do love this like cobalt blue look. So we start at a furniture shop and they're looking for couches. Obviously, they need a couch. He has a home, no couch. We saw it. And he lives here. He, I'm assuming, took her to this couch shop. Now, this annoys me because I get that this happens because maybe the production's like, go to a furniture shop. And for some reason, this man won't go to like the local IKEA. I don't know if they have IKEAs in Tasmania, but instead he goes to this, furniture shop that definitely exists where the couches are $2,100 to $2,700 for cream colored L-shaped theater seat couches, which are like from from my vantage point, a pretty good size couch and a pretty good price for what looks like an upper end couch, not like the highest end couch. I mean, there's West Elm, sure, and there's like Restoration Hardware, but first of all, I love when people like cream couches. It's like, that's going to stain. That like a cream couch with cup holders right there. What's going to be in the cup holders? Drinks that's going to stain that white couch. So anyway, so funny to me. So now this is where I hate this because he's taken her there and then they have to pick a couch and she's like, I like this couch, I like that couch. And he's like, well, honey, we have to like, think about prices. And then they look at the prices of the couch and they're, again, what I said, 21 to 2,700. She's like, well, I like nice things. And she's like, I want things that are durable and that last and stuff like that. And he's like, well, I think a couch should be $1,000. And I'm like, well, buddy, are there $1,000 couches here? First of all, are there $1,000 couches here? Because if there are, then before you even sit down on this white goddamn couch, then show her the $1,000 couch. But if there are not $1,000 couches at this establishment, then why did you take her there? And take her to that place. Did you only take her there so you can like point out money? Because it does feel like that. And I'm now on her side. We get all this information, right? Like she is in debt. And she's in debt right now for $20,000. And she went to Thailand with no debt. Before, when he had met her in Vegas, because they've been together off and on for years, she had like around, at one point, I think she said 60,000, but she somehow got her way down. I don't know if that number is correct, but right now 20,000 is 100% true. She's like 20. When he's like, how much debt she's in, and she's like 20, I was like, 100? No, 20, 100, 200, 200,000. 20,000's a lot. And she instantaneously blames him. She's like, I sold everything. I gave up my whole life to move to Thailand with you and it didn't work. And then when I had to come back, I had to start again and I had to incur debt. Now, there's some questions. She blames him and he takes some blame, but not all of it. I want to know this. Okay. So when she was in Vegas and he was like, come to Thailand, let's just say that she had her money there. She had whatever she was working with. Let's just say like, if she had nothing, then I feel bad for her and she should have something for her own seasoned womanhood. You can't just like not have anything. Or I mean, hopefully. if she had something, did she take that to Thailand, and was that like half and half of her and him putting the rent together for the place in Thailand or whatnot? Because she didn't work in Thailand, or did she just live off of that until they basically broke up, and then she had to move back to America, and then like had to get like a suddenly like security deposit and all that stuff, and couldn't scrape anything together? For as long as they've been together, I do feel like I feel like Dylan should have made sure that like a woman that he cared about and loved for so long wasn't going to move back to a country that you made her move away from with like nothing. So I think that Dylan, upon breaking up with her, could have easily been like, I'm so sorry, it didn't work out. I know we moved to Thailand. I know that, like, this whole world makes life for you really hard because you're like an ethnic woman and I'm a white male. And so I understand, as like a person that works through this world, that like when you go back to America, I've taken from you some time and energy. I'm going to make sure that like you have 5 to 10,000 just so you're not like flapping wings over there. But he didn't, because that's not the kind of man that he is. And because people like him don't think that they should do that, but they should. Because on Sister Wives last night, I really talked about the fact that, you know, women gave birth and died all the time. Women just have it hard in so many ways. So like that's why I don't always I'm like, she should just always do everything. She should have her own nest week. She should do things by herself. But I truly feel like I get where she was like, this is a little bit on you. And he keeps talking about it in a way that's like making her feel like, well, why do you keep talking about it? Then you have money, then pay it off. Stop talking about it then, because this couch is going to go to your home. So get the couch then that you want. Don't make me sit on this goddamn couch and then tell me you're not going to buy it for me and then chastise me for my past spending history that also has something to do with you. And then I have to sit here and just look at you while you do it. No. I feel like I know that people are like, oh my God, why doesn't she have money? Or why doesn't she save? Or, spending habits are hard. And I would get that he, like doesn't want to take on and incur debt. But the truth of the matter is, don't you incur the baggage and debt in some ways of most people in your life when you get like involved with them in some way? And I'm not saying he needs to take on her debt, but what I am saying is there are super awkward, restrictive things about him, right? And I don't see her always making it a negative thing. Like she goes with the flow of his mom just showing up, you know, she goes with the flow of this man having 300-calorie meals when it's all fucking kangaroo. Think about what she's dealing with. Is this the feminist in me? Because like this man is eating kangaroo fucking 5 times a day. So, and if he has a couple of houses, why can't he just pay off some debt at her time and just like let her have some peace of mind? She just moved. This is the second country she's moved to for you. It's a lot to give up. Like, it's a lot to go back. I mean, I don't know. I'm 100% on her side. Can you tell? So he says, look, at the end of the day, when I talk about this with you, you clam up, you get really defensive, and it's really awkward. He almost starts to cry when he's talking about it. I will give him this. This feels real. Now, she also acquiesces. She's like, you're right. I didn't know how much it affected you. And you're right. When we talk about it, it's bad. Like, it doesn't go well. I don't react well, and whatnot. And I think that there's a couple of things. She feels defensive. She's feeling attacked. And it's hard, it's hard to like sometimes have those communication issues. And sometimes I feel like what is underneath it is I am not nitpicking your worst qualities and throwing them back in your face. I only said in the confessionals, I think you're a mama's boy. I allowed your mom to like come here when I had the mask on. I don't want to see her. This is my house too. Is this not? If this isn't my house too, what the fuck am I doing here? If you're not going to propose to me, then like this is the second country I'm not going to live in with you. Oh, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I really want other people's opinions because I feel like people are like the way I'm sorry. The way that they shot that, the way the editors made it seem was that she was at fault. And I was like, no, 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 she was not. Okay, so let's move on to Greta and Matthew. Okay, my babes. So Greta is in gorgeous England. Just look at this shire. I mean, look at this cobblestoned cottage city. I mean, what do you township? Look at the green. It's so wet. It's foggy. Look at where they go. It's called the Lavender Bee Tea Room. It's adorable. I took 17 pictures. I could not deal. How is this place real? You're telling me that every day you can walk around this kind of place and then be like, it's 4 o'clock. I'm going to go to the Lavender Bee Tea Room. And then this is where you get to go with that roof, like patch roof or whatever, with those stones laid there and those foliage, lush greeneries just peeking out all over, just climate vines. I couldn't even deal. It's so Greta was like, yeah, I love it. I love tea. I love this place. I get it. Listen, old people, sure, sheep's all over the place. And yes, I told you guys I would like to walk to get a matcha, but at the same time, 4 o'clock strikes. So she gets to go to a beautiful lady tea and she gets to go with Denise, who's um, Matthew's grandmother, and of course, Caroline, who's Matthew's mom. And then also there is Josie, who's Matthew's brother's fiance. Now, I'm giving, Matthew's mom, Caroline's look for this tea is by look of the episode. Can we get into it? I mean, gorgeous. It is a white collared button up to the top, to the tickety top of that neck, honey, with white pearls. It's like white heart on black. I mean, it's super chic. And she has like kind of a lob with an interesting like frontal angle. Now, would I maybe, if I was going to be super nitpicky, love like a different eyeglass? Maybe, but whatever, it's fine. I do feel like this whole look just screams, I'm smart. I read books. Yes, I'm English. But here's the other thing they don't have the stereotype, I guess, of being at all cold or frigid or dry or not feeling like this is such a lovely scene for so many reasons, although there are like some challenges and we'll talk about it. So, first things first, Greta's like, love tea. They bring her vegan sandwiches, like wherever she goes, they cater to that. I'm so happy for that because Greta deserves it and I love Greta. Caroline's like, we are so happy you're here. Like, you are such, a welcome part of the family and we love having you around and you make our son so happy and what a synchronistic delight, like what a divine stroke that he met you in that vegan dating app. And then the grandma's like, and we've had some lovely Christmases together. Greta's like, yes, we certainly have. And Greta hasn't had so many great Christmases. We know that Greta's had like a tumultuous family life and she really bears her soul in this like really sad story about how her stepmom, her father's whatever, person that he invited into his life was really cold and horrible to her. And when decorating a Christmas tree, which is like the most family, love is love, love is love. Love is everywhere around us and beauty and warmth and you take kindness, all of that. This fucking Cinderella stepmom bitch was like, those are ugly ornaments. Your ornaments are ugly. The ones you made are super ugly. Oh, I don't like them. You can't have them here. And I'm going to throw them away and break them and throw them away. Meanwhile, I'm like, I would love to know what kind of ornaments did this person have? Was it all fucking baccarat? Like, was this like a weird Pinterest woman? Like, what are you talking about? Also, I want to know, like, Greta, did your dad just hear all that? And he was just, yeah, was he just like to her? Was he not present? Was he just in the other room? Was he just sitting with his tail between his legs? Like, what? But obviously, Caroline hears this and is like, we're so sorry. That's so sad. That's not what it's going to be like. We're so happy you're here. And again, you are my son's soulmate. So happy about that. And can't wait to just have many different Christmases for the rest of our lives with, traditions. And you'll do all of the ornaments, honey. We'll do a brand new tree every year and your kids will have ornaments. And I love kids, honey, kids, kids, kids. And then, that sister-in-law is like, I love twins. I've always thought about twins. And Greta starts to have a panic attack because she's told us this before, but now it seems somewhat overwhelming that she is having not only anxiety about having kids, anxiety about knowing if she wants to have kids, doesn't want to have kids. And she tells these nice ladies, and it's really a hard thing because they like created so much space for her and they have like obviously invested interest in that. They know that she's had like a hard childhood. And so Matthew's mom says the thing I kind of wish she didn't say, but she's on TV, so I'm sure she has to say it, which is, well, darling, do you think this is because of your troubled childhood? And Greta, I feel like, is crying about this. And I wonder if half of her is like, no, girl, just allow me to feel without like using against me what I just said. Or does Greta like, maybe you're right? Greta later on is going to say, when Matthew and her end up going apple picking to feed some hogs with cute ears. Um, when she absolutely breaks this man's heart as he looks on with very troubled eyes, she's like, I don't know if I want to have kids. I feel so drawn to my activism. They'll take away from my activism. And he's like, again, the same thing. Do you think this is because of your troubled childhood? Do you think that you have like fear about this? And she's like, the whole time, my troubled childhood, as Chris keeps saying, has actually propelled me up until, I guess, till I had a change of heart to want to have kids, to sort of want to remedy the household I didn't feel like I had. And I get that. I definitely understand that. It's hard because when you're young and you have like a lot of feelings, you don't know how you feel and you feel pressed to make decisions. It's hard to understand how you feel or what you're going to feel. And it's annoying to have to say for true something right away, especially if you have fear and you don't always know what to do. And the panic can make you just pick something. Greta shouldn't have to make a decision either way. At the same time, she's in a situation where Matthew, I guess I realize, is just like, I want to have kids right now. We've talked about it so much. And so I guess I really need to know, like, from Greta's perspective, and maybe this is why she said it, was it that much of a pendulum shift? Did she go from literally being like, Matthew, we're going to have 3 kids. It's Josephine, it's Briar, it's Logan. And Logan's going to be into soccer and Josephine's going to be a ballerina. And, what I mean, like, because Matthew is like, this is a fucking shock. He doesn't say it like that, but he's like, we have, like I said, talked about how many kids, we've talked about their hobbies, we've talked about their schooling, we've talked about like how we're going to do it. He is devastated. His whole face looks like he's seeing a ghost when she tells him. She's like, I know you're going to be like such a great dad. And then he's like, I will be, but I want to be a dad with you. You're my soulmate. And I will like support you, whatever you want to do. I want to say that if you want to be an activist, is there like a realm in which you could see that like raising mindful others might be like a very activist move? Like, can you see how that could be like somewhat revolutionary to like raise minds differently with like a different scope of heart, maybe raise little vegans that can be little animal lawyers, like whatever it takes. He's like, I will be 200% the parent. Now, when he said that, all of our hearts broke. We were like, oh my God. Because a couple of things. You can't be 200% a parent. it doesn't like Manon and Anthony's like Anthony's like, it's really hard, buddy. But it's like, A, there's gonna be resentment. B, there's gonna be situations where the children are if this is like a Manon and Anthony, then those kids are gonna be super bonded to you, and Greta's gonna have probably feelings about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's an interesting thing of like of how hard and irrational that statement is. And when he says it, you like know that this person is just like in deep desperation. Gosh, I felt so bad for him. But at the same time, this is like Greta and Matthew feel really real. This doesn't have to be like super manufactured. They're not picking apples, and she's not gonna like throw apples in his face and like dunk them in an apple water thing, being so mad at him. You know what I'm saying? Like in a Madeline Luke way. This feels so genuine. Like, I just want more information. Like, I want Greta to be like, when Matthew's like, we talked about it so much, I can't believe this is where she is now. I think I would need the producers to also be like, Greta, is this going to be, or was this, or however you phrase if this happened before or after, an unreal shock to Matthew? Because have you guys discussed the minutia of having kids? For her to be like, yeah. And I started to get scared, and I started to panic, or I started to realize how much he loved it. And I started to realize how much it probably wasn't for me, and how my heart was bringing me towards something else. Because the whole time he talked about those kids and how much he wanted those kids, I was like, yeah, Hazel, though. Also, Hazel, you know what hobby Hazel would love? Sitting, purring. I love Hazel's hobbies, Matthew would be a good dad. It's just that I think that Matthew would also need like a present parent too, because kids need to know like where they can put their stuff. They need like a parent to be like, "Oh, there's stuff already there, kids. I know you can't put your stuff there." Matthew, great job parenting. But yeah, kids, here's some extra drawers in don't worry, I'll buy you a chest of drawers so you can have all of them, because space is space and then things don't disappear. They had their names picked out. Yeah. I wonder if Greta would say that that was conversations that was like had over text that she didn't assign as much meaning to. And then when push comes to shove, she realizes how much meaning. I don't know. Or when is the fact that his mom keeps saying they want to have kids, she can't wait to have grandkids, that it's really freaking her out. Greta obviously had told us that she was having second thoughts. And we certainly know that she does seem very stringent about being an activist. I had not heard, okay. Having said that, I also understand that like having kids is a huge energy vortex, money vortex. Also, love fountain. There's a lot of great things about kids, supposedly. I don't have them, but when I see them, I'm like, oh yeah, they love you. That's great. They have your face. That's great. For holidays, that's great. You feel like maybe like you've accomplished things and you feel like part of society because, you've done the things other people do, like have kids. And sometimes when you don't have kids, you're like, do people in society think that I like didn't sign the contract right? But admittedly, they are so much money and so much energy, right? How great though if you like love that, but truly, if I guess you really have a calling, there's a reason why nuns and priests, I guess, don't have kids. And it's interesting how, like a lot of famous artists have interesting relationships with their children because they toured or because they were on the road or because they were someone involved in their own things. And children need a lot of like attention and a lot of like space. And they can't be like accessories to your life completely. There has to be like a balance. And it's hard sometimes, to give everyone in a family a balance because Greta's going to have to be giving Matthew a balance. So there's a part of her that understands the life that she's led, how much she has to like sacrifice to be with Matthew. And I think that she's doing the math where she's like, and kids more, I'm literally never going to be able to leave the house. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do it. Okay, my babes. So, last but certainly not least, let's move on to Jenny and Sumit. Okay, so day of days. Honey, here's the thing. We'll never go back to like, I guess, the laughter yoga or like the poop yoga. And we certainly, I feel like, did not need that segment at all. Like, and going back, I'm like, why did we have that entire storyline? Because it didn't have anything really to do with the cafe. And I think that like it's kind of hinting at one thing, which is that we've known Jenny. Jenny is seemingly feeling different this season, and it's a marked shift on the entire storyline. Jenny feels a little sadder and a little slower and a little foggier and a little more over it. She seems like she doesn't want to do much, and she seems like she's not as active in a lot of ways, and and not really fighting the fight of getting stronger every day. This stinks, but like as we age, there is this thing where you have two choices. You can just allow things to move the way they do, or you can position yourself to be in the best position by position yourself and be then you either don't fight gravity and you don't move and you don't like try and get stronger and you don't try and like make sure you're doing the things to keep healthy, or you just allow, right? Jenny seemingly has allowed for the past 10 years. Jenny has definitely felt better season by season. She was more active and like spoke with a faster pace and seemed more like with it and seemed more active. And this has been a really depressing season to watch because even if she's living there and she's like, even if Sidha or Sadhna is like happy with her, obviously not everyone else is. And she's not fitting in well. And so then we constantly have to get this, I don't want to live with his family, but you don't want to do anything. Why be on the, but you, it's actually, if it wasn't for her being, God bless, so old and Sumit being so young and being such a kind of like wild thing to witness, they shouldn't be on the show anymore. They're actually like really boring. They had their drama and their drama has like passed, and the drama was like Sumit and like the catfish and like being engaged with someone else and like his family like not liking it and stuff like that. But now they're all living together doing yoga and like opening this cafe called a family cafe. Family cafe is obviously a very unspecific name. Family cafe is like if you're doing an improv scene and they're like, what's the name of this cafe? And you can't think of it. And you're like, it's family cafe. It's our family's cafe. They could have done one other thing, I think, like Sadhna's souffle. I don't know. But at the same time, let's talk about it. So there's two scenes. One scene is the preparation. This is Jenny in her preparation mode. Her look is like some weird Lisa Frank sweatshirt. What's happening is they go to the space and they're going to prepare a bunch of food because the next day they're going to have like an open house where there's going to be a blessing of the entire food market area. They're going to have some samples for the peeps, and they have their curries and they're really like throwing down hard on two other options. Espresso, because yes, it's like a chai drinking culture, but they got an espresso machine with steamed milk and they can do Americanos and, you can't get it everywhere. And Jenny's like, that's my job. And we're like, oh, okay, I guess Jenny, yeah, you can be a barista. And then later on, we'll realize Jenny doesn't know how to use that machine. And that's sad because we want Jenny to like excel at something because it's definitely not making Indian food. It's definitely not making American food. It's definitely not making spaghetti. She can't do yoga. She can't speak the native language. She can't shop her vegetables. She can't make espresso. And at this point, she can't afford to live by herself. Jenny is a white woman who got her retirement early and moved to India. Now, here's the thing. Sumit is an Indian man who is with Jenny for whatever reason. I understand culturally why his family's like, wait, you're going to go get another dependent? That's not the fucking way it works here. At some point, we all live together. We know that happens, and we always take you in. That's the kind of atmosphere we have, or family. You can't just beholden us to some older, decaying person. We don't have the resources, and I don't want to take care of this person. How are we going to afford this or whatever? But that's what, that's what happened. They all made their decisions. And then now Jenny is living with his parents. And this is like low key the reason why like they didn't want their son to marry you. Because if their son is going to live with them with some other woman, some other person that is like taking away resources, that person has to give to the household by work or by like money or something. Now, on the periphery, we can be like, Jenny does. She gives this television show. I'll be like, fine, fine, fine. But at the end of the day, Jenny would have to know they didn't want her to be with their son for the exact reason of her moving in and sponging off of them and giving nothing, which is what's happening. And it's only going to get worse. Because Jenny now is like, I can do the coffee machine, but it's like, no, you can't. And there's going to be like a day in 3 months where you make up a reason why you can't do that. Your arm hurts, you got burnt, it's too hard, it's too hot, steam gets in your face, you can't put your hair back, whatever it is. Your legs hurt, there's not enough room. She's already angling for there's not enough room, where it's like, it's just what Sadhna's gonna keep giving her like an evil eye, like, girl, do some yoga, you're taking up space. Like, it's like a weird, bad feeling all around. It's like a toxic, doesn't make me happy. And I don't understand what the hook is of watching them. Because there's not joy and there's not fun love and there's not any excitement of like any like newfound energies. I don't think anyone's like, oh, I'm so super invested in a family cafe. And it's a little disgusting, to be honest. So, because this storyline is basically that we've known there's no water in the space. So they basically start to cook a bunch of food with water that you get from like some spigot near the bathroom. Who knows? That's not like filtered. And then they made the whole food with them. And then Sumit yelled at his parents, who like, that's disgusting. That's shameful to me. I'm like, I can get why you think it's shameful for Sumit to like marry an older woman on TV, but also I think it would be so fucking shameful to be on national television being like, yeah, I thought it'd be okay to cook food with shit water. Like, that's embarrassing. Especially if you think you're going to like have a restaurant and people are going to go to it. But here we are. So Sumit is like, we have to throw everything away. And then they supposedly stay up all night to cook more of it. And then either, blame Sumit, like, you should have figured out the water. And he is like, yeah, it is my fault. Okay, God bless. And then so the next day, they have a nice gentleman come around who brings a bunch of holy water and blesses everything by throwing the holy water everywhere. The holy water is cow urine. That's not the greatest for Jenny, but that's the culture. I got a little public safety alert. This is a test. Oh, no. God damn it. So basically, as they're passing out food and as this man is blessing everyone with a bunch of cow urine, which is great, Jenny's like, these samples are not samples so much because I remember when I went to Costco, they were tiny. These are like entrees, And then she like gets mad and the family has to sit her down and be like, this is an investment to get people to know how great our potato croquettes are. And she's has to be told that. I mean, this has to be the last season for them. We need to put him out. Honey, like, put him out to pasture with the divine cows. We can't. I don't want to see him anymore. No more. Move on from these people. Yeah, it just doesn't feel like it's gonna be great. I don't wanna watch her be, like, body shamed. I'm sick of, like, all of that. She's aging. I don't feel like she's in the greatest health. I think we've seen enough. God bless. Let's let them go. You know, I just don't think there's gonna be because of, like, her energy levels and, like, where I feel like she is health-wise, I don't foresee, like, any more fun scenes. And because I think that, like, a lot of the fish out of the water scenes that were happening were like, "Oh, she's new to Indian culture, but now we realize she is just, like, this weird, white, ignorant woman that's just there that refuses to, well, be in the culture in any way." Um, I don't think she has, like, yeah, she doesn't have, like, the energy levels to, like, do fun things anymore, and also it's like, when she is doing things, she's suffering through it, and you can tell in her demeanor. I don't know, my gloves. I mean, can't be it. So, yay! Okay, let's move on. Um, oh, wait. No, did I talk about all the people? No, did I really? Oh, I guess I did. I guess I talked about everyone. I'm so sorry. My gosh. Okay, just kidding. What do you guys think? You tell me if you think that I'm right that Jenny Sumit should be out. Tell me if I'm right that you think that Greta and Matthew are like such a great couple and that they're real genuine. And though, tell me what you think is going to happen though. Like, do you think they're going to get past this moment? Do you think I'm right that Madeline and Luke are like a broke down Juno and Jasmine? Do you feel like I clocked Luke's insecurities? And also, I really want you to say, I want you to say, but I want you to express yourself that you're on my side about the Petia situation. And the fact that she has to get her spending under control. It's true. But at the same time, it would have been nice if he had cushioned her fall back to America after moving to Thailand. And therefore, she didn't feel like forced to take out a bunch of like credit cards to like have probably like an apartment and place to stay and like some furniture. Ah, my loves. Okay, let me hear what you guys say. Chris, your blouse is beautiful. Thank you so much. This is actually a kimono. I'm gonna go out to dinner later, and I didn't want to wear my outfit because it's one of those real wrinkly outfits. You know what I'm saying? Like it's real wrinkled fast. I knew I was going to get so wrinkled if I sat here, so threw on this, but try to get like a little face beat on. Is this whole restaurant disaster a storyline? If not, Sumit has gotten himself and his family into another. Yeah, let's be honest, I don't quite understand what their money situation is because sometimes he had to work for his friends in a restaurant and now they moved away and now they have enough money to all start a restaurant. He's like, yeah, my parents helped, but it's like if his parents helped, then why are you calling the shots? And then maybe it's because he's like, I worked in restaurants, but I yeah, it just feels like Sumit to me should have leveraged his like mild celebrity to like be a little bit of a more of like mover and shaker entrepreneur in India. Like I'm surprised he hasn't leveraged that to like get outside investors. You know? It's only the storyline, LOL. Sad to see that Jenny is spending her golden years with Sumit that's flopping. I think that God bless, I think that her golden years have passed us. There's some I don't know why she would choose this. Like there's just something a little depressing about Jenny. Yeah, it just feels like she wants to spend the rest of her life in some, like dusty room on a bed, never really leaving and never having Sumit leave, for the next 7 years until things happen. And then he what goes back to living with his parents or meets someone else? I wonder like what if you were to really ask her, like, how do you see it going? What would be like your ideal way to spend the rest of your life? And how do you feel like Sumit's going to move in that? Because it does feel like that. She just wants to spend time with Sumit. She doesn't want him to work. She doesn't want to work. I just I wonder if there were like any retirees that she could have hooked up with that could like, you know, spend their social security checks together in such a way that would have been, I don't know, a little easier for them both. Because the thing about Jenny is that as Jenny's energy declines, it's not going to be fun for her to be with someone that doesn't feel that way. It's going to like, there's going to be like a rift because we already seeing someone who like doesn't want to go out and be in something. It would have just been a lot it would have been a lot better of a situation, I think, if Jenny by now, by this point, had like tried hard to assimilate to Indian culture. It would have been lovely to watch her be like, I tried. Listen, when they told me to make chan masala, I started prepping. It might not taste good, but this is my third attempt and I used fresh vegetables. Like, just like you would have an idea that she envisions a life with Sumit that is capable. But instead, it feels like she wants to give nothing and do nothing, and that's not like feasible. There's something about the humanity, like the very moment of existence that is doing something. Like it's an annoying thing because we are all doing something, even when we're not doing something. Like when we're resting, we're doing something. When we're sitting, we're doing something, But there's also this like human need to have purpose and have like a reason to get up in the morning and like a calling and like accomplishment and like goals and tasks. And I think that it's great when you find work that you love, right? It's like that's the ultimate because even though those things can be really challenging, at least hopefully at the end of the day, you feel fulfilled because you love this thing or you get this great thing from it because it makes you feel some way. It kind of like goes back to like what Luke was saying, like, oh, Madeline makes me feel a certain way. Good work or like accomplishing things should make you feel the way I think Luke feels with Madeline, which is seen, justified, good, upstanding, you know, part of it, belonging. Um, and as like anyone, like people in themselves need to find a calling. And as people age, specifically, and if they retire, you can start to see people like not have that. And I think spirit and mind and will and energy and starts to falter. And there's like obviously connection between body and mind. And I think that if you want to be, active, if you want to be like comfortable as you age, and if you want, I think, to live like as healthy as a life as one can and as robust and as filled with experiences, travel, relationships as one can, keeping yourself going and doing things that like feed you and not only feed you, like feed the greater is like part of being alive. Jenny's not doing anything to serve herself. She's not doing anything to serve the family, and she's not doing anything to serve Indian culture or society. You know, she really just feels like she cashed it all out, all her chips, put them all on, you know, I was gonna say like, yeah, like what is like a bargain chip? Like one, no, like black? I don't know. Yeah. And is riding that hard. I couldn't think of like, when it's that fun roulette. Yes. Roulette. It's been so long since I've been to Vegas. but I can't remember. Is it numbers? I was like, is it black 1 or black 5? Is it black B? Like, I can't remember. Anyway, black. I know that you obviously have like numbers when it ends, but you also can just bet on the color. So what, God bless. All I'm saying is all the chips are in one thing and she's writing it out. And she hasn't, I think, taken into due course the fact that she needs to take care of herself mentally and be doing things, because it's not just that she's tired and she doesn't want to do things and she's lazy. It's just that she's just going to disintegrate. She's just deteriorate. What happens next? What's the end goal? Or like, is she just like, no, that's what's going to happen. I feel like, I probably have a good 5 years left and I just want Sumit to take care of me. That's what he told me. I mean, maybe like it would make sense if she's like, the whole time that he catfished me or whatnot, and the whole time he told me that he wanted to take care of me. So I moved to India so that he would take care of me. It's what our contract is. I'll move here. We're together romantically, and he knows I'm going to die before him, and he cannot wait to be on hand and foot taking care of me. And he realizes his family isn't happy with that, but I've given him Social Security checks, so he's entitled to that. I don't know. Like I need to know though. Luke is broke now. Doesn't need him anymore. God bless him. With the Luke and Madeline thing, like Madeline, I think Madeline, like I want to like Madeline be like, you told me this and you're not doing it. And I want to be like, okay, so he has never just been like, Madeline, I'm broke. I'm broke. I don't have any more money. There is no more money. Because she'd be like, oh, Luke, you told me you had money. You're going to take care of me. You're not going to take care of me. And he'd be like, right. I now have to find more money just for me, much less you. Anyway, my loves, what do you think? Okay, I'm going to listen to what your comments are, and then I'm going to have to wrap up, but it's been so fun talking. I think Sumit's also said his brother put money in the restaurant. Yes, that's why I love that. Yeah, like the brother's wife had to be there to be like, Sri had to be there to be like, bitch, you don't know how to fucking make an Americano. It's an espresso and hot water. Did his parents put money in the restaurant too? Yes. I'm sure there are expat groups you could have joined. Of course there are. Like, isn't there like a lot of hippie women in India just doing yoga all the time, like white women? I don't mean to laugh about that, but I do think there are expats, specifically like yogis. Aren't there a lot of yogis from different countries doing yoga? She had such an in. I mean, yoga's a huge in to, I would assume, a huge in, not just to India, but I mean, my God, his parents were yoga instructors. And it would be great if she got some yoga done. They need to bring, if they're going to have that stupid yoga like storyline, then they need to remedy all of my concerns by Jenny saying yes and implementing a yoga routine in her life. And the reason why is not just like, oh, I think Jenny should do yoga because I want her to move her body so she doesn't get old, or I want her to move her body so she's like healthy. I literally, because obviously yoga is like a mental thing in a process. I think it'd be good for her to have something in her life. And if it was like a hardcore yoga practice, I mean, she could easily do worse. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Her debt is not high. Yeah, I mean, I think you're talking about Petya. Yeah, in America, $20,000 is not that high. What do you think if I said that to you? Is that bad to say? I don't think it's that high for Americans. It's a hard situation, I'm sure. I think we've seen a lot of times on the show where like non-Americans are like, you have credit card debt? Isn't that what Ashley's thing went? She had a lot more credit card debt. And Ashley was like, we all do. Yeah, 20,000 doesn't seem that high. Yeah, so interesting. All right, my loves, here's the thing. You have a lot more of me coming up because Secret Lives of Mormon Wives drops Thursday. I'll be watching that and talking about that on Friday, and I'm very pumped. I don't know how many episodes are being dropped, so I am going to lay it out like this. If there's like 6 episodes, I'm not going to be able to recount all of them on Friday. I probably will do 1 or 2. And if there's let's just say there's 6 because I feel like there might be. I might do 2 episodes of 2 chunks or 1 or 2, or I'll do 1 mega episode Friday and maybe like 1 mega episode Sunday to try and give us all time to watch and recount. But having said that, you are welcome to listen to the DocuSweeties 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After Tell All ep. That's already live on any RSS feed, or you can also listen to it on YouTube. So that's that. Of course, we just talked about 90 Day Fiance The Other Way, Season 7, Episode 10. Thank you so much for being here. Please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. Please comment after. I will always write back in the comments after the video is posted. You also have The Sister Wives, if you haven't watched that I recorded yesterday. That's on the docket. If you haven't yet, please go subscribe to my YouTube, to my Facebook group, Vanity Farah, to my Substack, and to my Instagram, Chris L. Farah, and my TikTok, Chris L. Farah. I certainly wish I didn't have to be so obnoxious about that, but turns out I do. Isn't that fun for me? Great. But I love you guys, and I sincerely appreciate you listening to me, like, ramble on. And I want you guys to make sure that you're taking care of yourselves, and, make sure that you are loving yourselves, and make sure that you are finding pockets and ways in which to share and show your love for other people. 'Tis the season, right? 'Tis the season to make people feel good, to make people feel like wanted or accepted or loved. The more and more we get just like everyday acts of love and grace, then people won't feel such desperate needs to like move to Colombia and give all their money to people who don't love them. I don't know. I don't want to put all of Luke's trauma on us, but I do think that there's a certain amount of like isolation and loneliness out there in the world. And if we all feel that, or if we feel that from time to time often, having a little more propensity to alleviate that for other people can't hurt, right? Like collectively, society as a whole. And if society as a whole feels a little better and therefore makes better choices, then it's almost like a butterfly effect. Butterfly effect. So that's why I feel like I have to say, take care of yourselves and one another. Stand up for what you believe and make art. All right, babes. Okay. I'm going to go put my outfit on, and maybe I'll add a little more eyeliner, and maybe a little lip liner, or like, I think I need a little more of a festive lip because my entire outfit is camel, head to toe fucking camel. All right. Also, if you're a Reality Gaze fan, or if you're any podcast fan, if you're a Pink Shade fan, I want to make sure who I'm saying who's coming tonight. I will be going to a very fun dinner in LA with a bunch of fun recap podcasters. Another reason why to follow me if you don't, at Chris L. Farah, because, I like taking pictures. I'll take cute pictures of us all, and I'll put dumb fun moments of us probably getting a little too a little too drunk in the mid-week podcast meetup where I'm wearing head to toe camel, and, I'll put it on the gram. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye, babes. Tea time. Make sure to have